Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to Scorpio season. And more importantly than that, Jupiter in Scorpio, which lasts a whole entire year. I know you guys are already feeling this. So I just wanted to give a couple updates before we get into this month's readings. First, I hope you guys all saw the updates that I did on SpiritualSiren.com and the new way to book. It has been successful thus far, so check it out if you haven't already, because I also launched new services. Also, we are just under 300 people shy of 11K subscribers. Thank you guys all so much. It's mind-blowing to see how quick our community has grown. And I say our because what am I without you guys, you know? So in celebration of that, for the whole month of November, I'm doing a little bit different of a reading special for $11.11, so $11.11. You can get a 2-card pull emailed to you, so a written reading, something that I right now don't offer. So if you're interested in that, you can either DM me on Twitter or email me directly. It's not going to be listed on my site because it's conducted differently than my other readings. So for the whole month of November, okay? A 2-card pull, written response for $11.11. Also, some of you know I recently got sober from alcohol, and I'm wondering if anyone would be interested in me vlogging my thoughts about it. Not because it's for everybody, not that kind of thoughts, but just what I'm personally going through as a spiritual being called to be sober. If you're interested in those kind of vlogs, comment below and let me know. Also, I did what I call a transmission the other day, and I posted it. It was about 5 minutes long. It was titled, Life is Ritual. If you guys are interested in more stuff like that, also comment below because I would love to share more of those kind of things with you guys if you're interested in it. So let me know. Also, so you guys know how obviously in all my videos you can see from about here to my waist. So I'm looking to work with jewelry and clothing companies that are small business, primarily ones owned by women of color. I'm looking to collaborate with those kind of brands, those small independent women like myself, to cross-promote. So if you do that, if your brand aligns with my work and you would like to do some type of teaming up and working together, please comment below. Or if you have a favorite brand, please email me, reach out to me. I've been doing this on my other platforms as well. Because, hey, we're out here building a spiritually conscious community, and I just want to help my sisters. So here we are. And then lastly, some of you have asked about my nails and what goes on my nails and who does my nails. And I'm now tagging my nail tech's Instagram in the description box. As always, all of my contact information and how to book a private reading with me is also in the description box. So always look there before contacting me directly about services. Other than that, I know some of you are probably disappointed you didn't get love readings again last month, but if you knew how my guides operated, even in my own personal guidance, dealing with my own life, they don't like to give up love advice. Okay, all the my regular psychic that I see, I never get any love advice. My guides are very anti-focusing on love, so I apologize for that. But as you can see, I'm officially moving into my new office, so we will have a lot more consistency going forward, and I'm really excited. I had a couple clients sign up for the new services, and everything went really well with the past life reading and the Skype consultations. And don't forget, I'm really excited about the service Siren Squad Support, which is $25 for the month. It starts November 1st, and you get to email me with whatever questions or concerns you may have at the time, and I just support you via email. It's not a tarot-based service. It's an emotional support service, so check that out. That's also on my site. It's underneath group services, and let's get into the readings. Bye. All right, Scorpio. So first and foremost, happy birthday. So before these cards came out, and I'm getting a chill now, before it wasn't a chill, It was an energy that started from my feet up, and it was kind of warm and almost like a vortex, right? But it was like equal parts good and bad, which, you know, Scorpio shadow work, you know all about that. And obviously Jupiter has entered your sign, as well as a lot of other personal planets that are currently transiting. So there's a lot of Scorpio energy happening here. Got a lot of chills. I think it was Pisces that gave me a ton of chills as well. Whew, okay. So the cards that fell out are the Five of Wands, the Nine of Swords on the bottom of the deck, the Three of Swords, which I know we don't want to see for your birthday, but this is just the intro. So I think a lot of you, look, I cut the deck and there's the Queen of Cups. I think a lot of you, us, right, are doing the most to fight off the fears. And in some regard, that's healthy, right? Because you know that the fear isn't real, right? Fear is only the projection of the ego. When we come to these deep realizations that is just beginning, that Scorpio, Jupiter and Scorpio is going to drudge up, right? There's this battle of what your soul knows to be true and the story that your mind has been telling your heart for a long time. With the Three of Swords in the bottom of the deck, you know, this is nothing new that you're dealing with. This is just old stuff resurfacing, and what resurfaces is going to be different for everybody. Look, we have the Seven of Wands. I think it relies mostly around what you place stock in, okay? And that could be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. But also make sure that you're not fighting for a projection, or you're not fighting for a fear, okay? That you're not fighting out of pain. It's one thing to fight against it in the sense that when someone like triggers it in you or brings it up, you have the foresight to not project back, but instead you're like, wow, like, you know, I'm feeling fear right now. I'm feeling anxiety right now. Like, what, you know, what is it that that person brought up in me, you know, that I'm getting bothered by? It can be that kind of battle, right? And overall, even if you know it's an ego versus soul battle, it still hurts. You know, the Three of Swords just talks about the ugly, you know, the ugly part of life. And Scorpio, you know, has a unique ability to shed light on kind of the most disgusting things about being a human. Because if you think being a human is like all like beautiful and glorious, like I don't think that you've ever done any type of shadow work. It's pretty gruesome sometimes. So yes, it's not pretty. And this just feels overall like a lot of very personal, painful memories coming up in a more broad way, right? So you're not getting specific stories triggered. You're getting your pain body triggered. And you're realizing through projection, right? Through projection, you're realizing that there's a lot of parts of yourself that you have yet to address. And that can be humbling in and of itself. All right, my lovely Scorpios. So we have a lot going on here. And obviously, this is a spiritual path and career reading, but first and foremost, this spread speaks to our internal reality. So it can manifest into a lot of different storylines in your life. I tend to focus on the internal storyline. So bear with me if I don't really talk about work or jobs or anything like that. The overall energy this month is the Four of Pentacles. This is about getting grounded. Not that you aren't grounded, Scorpio. It's just, it's like seeing it, right? Because the Four of Pentacles is physical realm. So you're getting the proof this month that the work you've been doing is actually creating the physical foundation that you were hoping for. And I'm really, even though a lot of signs got a lot of court cards this month, and you only have one. However, I do feel this relates to the other, like what Scorpio needs to do in relationship to other people. Because, you know, life can only happen in solitude for so long. And who we are with in relationship to other people, right? This is Libra season, says a lot about who we are at a core level. And obviously Scorpio carries a lot of emotional baggage that people can't see. And because they can't see it, they don't know it exists. And I think it's really easy to be bitter about that. And bitterness is not an emotion that any of us want to identify with because it's ugly. And it's, you know, it seems unevolved and unconscious. And I think to an extent, and this is collective, I think to an extent we all feel, especially if we do spiritual work, that we're superior to triggering someone's shadow or you know, causing them any type of trauma. And again, with Jupiter transiting Scorpio and all these planets in Scorpio right now, I think it's not Mars, but it's definitely Mercury and Venus, I believe. It's just a lot, you know, it's a lot happening. And there's this hesitation that you're moving through because you realize like you can't put it off anymore. Something has to be done. And it's terrifying you, even though you are the sign of death and rebirth and you know that you are immortal. But it doesn't matter how many times you die, like it's still, you still wince a little, you know, before you fall on your own sword. Even though you have already the advanced wisdom that you will rise again. Falling on your sword doesn't get any easier per se. So in the position of what you need to let go of this month, Scorpio, we have the Star, and together came out the Magician and the 10 of Wands, and the rune here is disruption. So first I want to talk about the Star, right? The Star talks about having hope and believing in your dreams and the willingness to be vulnerable, right? In the face of no proof of anything, right? And you've been this, Scorpio, okay? Because we're moving away from this. So you've been vulnerable and you've been putting in the work. And that's why I think for Pentacles, you're like, can it show up already? How long am I supposed to stand here naked before I see something, right? And it's, you know, and it's scary again, like, because we live in the shadows. So to stand out in the light with everything showing is, you know, can feel very daunting. Now, I want to break down these two cards because the disruption, in my opinion, speaks directly to the 10 of Wands. Or rather, the 10 of Wands being the disruptive factor to the Magician. So the Magician talks about, in this regard, I think manipulation. Again, not because you're trying to be cruel, Scorpio, for the most of you, you know, because Scorpio is a controlling sign, whether they like to admit it or not. Again, I'm a Scorpio moon, so everything that I say here applies to myself. But because of Scorpio's infinite knowledge, right, of the psyche, even in their most vulnerable moments, there's a tendency to want to spin the situation so that they are more so in the place of power. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It's like innately who you are, you know? Scorpio, Pluto, right, is the ruler. It's about power struggles. Pluto's about power struggles, especially in Scorpio, right? Struggling to keep the faith while also not manipulating the scenario. It's like here I am vulnerable and naked, but I'm actually only vulnerable and naked when you appear to be more vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a I don't want to say disingenuous, but there's something here of you not being vulnerable just for the sake of being vulnerable. There's some type of alter motive, okay? Now, the Magician also speaks to having infinite power to create whatever you desire, right? And the Ten of Wands is speaking of responsibilities, and more than that, concerns, right? And feeling overwhelmed. And that's kind of the contradiction, like this, it's very contradictory to the Star. The Star is bare. You know, the Star is pouring back into its emotional body while also nourishing the other. And I feel like what Spirit is saying is you cannot continue to like half-ass vulnerability. Because it's not that you're not doing the work, you are, but you're not doing as much as you could do. And with the 10 of Wands and the Rune Disruption, don't let your daily tasks, right? Or other people's problems, or other people in your life, or taking on other responsibilities to directly avoid your opportunities to be vulnerable. It's like using excuses that you're purposely taking on to disrupt your own ability to stand in your own power while also being vulnerable. And that only hurts you, you know? When we like half do things, you know, Scorpio, we're all or nothing anyways, right? And the only reason we're putting this off is because, like I said before, it's ugly, you know? The shadow is ugly. We're more brave, you know, than most, because we look into spirit and we look into the dark, and you know, we don't wince quite as much as other signs, but it doesn't mean that we're comfortable with other people seeing how vulnerable and ugly we are, you know? So don't take on other people's problems or other people's burdens in order to just hold space for them in an effort to avoid your own shit. Okay? Be vulnerable for the sake of being vulnerable, because you know that's what healing requires, not because you're going to be able to like get some type of advantage off of it. All right? The door that's now open for you that was once closed, we have the Four of Cups, clarified by the Ace of Wands. And the rune we have on the Ace of Wands is healing. So in this case, right, Four of Cups can talk about boredom or being dissatisfied with the options that you have. But with the Ace of Wands here, I feel like this is a revisitation to a situation that you've had before. And also, if you've had any type of codependent habit, whether it be drugs, alcohol, escapist tactics, codependent relationships, whatever it may be, Spirit is offering you a new opportunity to look at these things again. Because remember, in the Four of Cups, Spirit is offering a fourth cup, and that man is saying, well, I like the cups I have. I've done enough. Is 3 not enough? Do I really have to look at a fourth? You know? And with the Ace of Wands, that talks about opportunity, right? Resurgence. So you're getting a second chance here, Scorpio, in a lot of ways, to review what you have emotionally rejected, whether it be from other people or from within yourself, or how other people trigger things in you and you have glazed over what that really says about your emotional truth. Because you have the foresight to know that just because you feel something doesn't mean it's what someone meant, right? That wasn't necessarily their intention. But even you, knowing your depth, underestimate how emotionally jarred you can be by experiences, and how much you push off having to deal with them. So this is really, really about dropping resistance and accepting the reality that, man, we all got shit to work on, and we're all hurt. You know, we've all been hurt. We've all got more stuff to dig in on. And no, sorry to break it to you, the healing is never done. You know, when it's done, we die. So I encourage you to embrace this new opportunity to heal with open arms. I am feeling for most of you that it is going to be someone prompting you externally. Obviously, the pain, right, or the experience lives ultimately within you. But someone, I think this hand more than anything will be external, where Spirit is saying, you know, you're being given this opportunity to look at things differently and assess the emotional truth of a situation. All right, your energy this month, Scorpio, as it relates to your spiritual path. In your head, we have the 9 of Wands. In your heart, we have the 3 of Wands. And in your foundation, we have the Lovers. And on the Lovers, we have the Rune Protection. So, Scorpio, I know that you know that, again, normally I don't akin the Lovers card to partnership, but it is feeling like partnership in general, okay? Yes, romantic falls in there, but also friends and just how you relate to the other person, like any person, okay? What have you done in your relationships throughout your life out of protection, out of fear of rejection, out of your desire to keep the upper hand? Again, not because you want to be manipulative, but because you just don't want to compound the pain that you already experience. And this is what I mean about looking at ugliness. Like, this shit is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Like, who wants to admit that they do spiritual work and they you know, do shadow work, but yet still, even when practicing surrender, even when practicing vulnerability, you still make choices to keep yourself more guarded than open. Because, man, the idea of getting, you know, emotionally dumped on is terrifying. And there is a choice you need to make. Because the Lovers always talks about choices. And you're being given an opportunity to rise to a higher octave spiritually. With 3 of Wands in your heart, I know that you know there's so much more available to you. This is like the road opener. Like, I don't know if any of you do candle work, but that candle just came to mind, the road opener. It's just about expansion and moving beyond the vision and actually living it, right? So it's not about talking about it. It's about being about it. You're not talking about vulnerability anymore. You're not talking about healing the shadow. You just are. You're not talking about unconditional love. You are unconditional love. And that's fucking terrifying. You know, real unconditional love is scary, man. Like, anyone that tells you otherwise is lying. You know, they're lying. And yes, eventually it's not scary, but like, to really step into it in the moment, it's scary. And, you know, I don't think you're going to have to make a choice quite yet this month. Maybe some of you will. But I think I told Aquarius this, and you do have the card of Aquarius here. This is a pivot point. Pain is a pivot point. Until you recognize what's hurting you, you can't move through it. So you have choices to make this month. And I urge you to follow the sun. I urge you to follow the clarity. I urge you to follow the truth. Because look, this sun is shining here and the sun is shining down here. And out here in the outcome, the sun is rising again. So the 9 of Wands in your thoughts, facing the past, right? The beautiful thing is your heart is already on the right page, meaning your heart already understands that you must turn your back on identifying emotionally with your past experiences, or it's going to be damn near impossible to move forward. Your mind, your ego is not quite there yet. And this is why you're at the point you're at with the Lovers. This is about aligning with your higher truth, your higher self, right? The larger spiritual truth of yourself, not just aligning with your pain body, not just aligning with your emotional body, but bringing everything into harmony. And your mind can't help but bring up every time you've been shit on. Honestly. And you have to have the power to overcome that. You have to know better. You have to want physical security and physical, I don't want to say validation, but you have to want to feel emotionally secure out, you know, in the real world, in the 3D world, more than holding on to your old narratives. Any urge you have to be resistant, whether it be towards someone else or towards an idea or an opportunity you have to be vulnerable, I urge you to drop into your heart space and ask yourself, am I protecting myself because my ego is prompting me from an old story? Or am I trying to protect myself because genuinely, right, I feel like truly that this person is not offering me love? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be an ego story. Okay? Spirit's advice for you. We have the Hermit, clarified by the King of Pentacles. In the rune we have here is Strength. So, you know, a Virgo may be involved, or if you have Virgo strongly in your chart, this may just be talking about you more so than other people. You know, the King of Pentacles is very secure. Very, very secure. And this is saying that your personal strength, and notice how he's also looking towards the future. His personal strength and the way that he can sit so unmoved, right, by what others do, is because he has already looked deeply into his personal truth and has come to peace with that. Again, we have the star here, and the stars in the Hermit's lantern. Your ability to see deeply into the past while also staying in the present and then pivoting and looking deeply into the future is the only thing that's going to bring you security. It's the only thing that's going to make you feel safe. Knowing yourself is the only thing that can bring you that security that you want. Nobody else can grant it. And we also have to commit. This feels like commitment to me, and commitment in all capacities. First and foremost, again, committing to the personal introspection and taking responsibility for the role that you play in partnership of any kind. And also, to an extent, believing that it's also safe to seek strength, right? Like physical support in another person. There's also a theme here of like, you can't do it alone forever. Okay? The most likely outcome at the end of the month is the 10 of Swords and the 9 of Swords, which we had in the beginning. And the rune we have on the 10 of Swords is luck. So I do see you successfully overcoming your anxieties this month, Scorpio. I almost said Virgo. Right? I think that you will find everything will be a lot more prosperous for you in general and like lighter, right? Especially mentally, once you successfully lay all these fears to rest. And again, only you can do that. Because, the 9 of Swords are irrational. It's just irrational. You have a lot of 9s here too. 3 9s, 2 tens. Okay, so we're wrapping shit up. So there's a dawn of a new day coming, Scorpio. And any ego resistance or fear that you have of what's to come will only delay the physical manifestation of this spiritually aligned truth that you have been working towards. Don't be scared to do a little more deep diving, especially when Spirit offers you another opportunity to heal, especially with someone that you've attempted to heal a relationship with before. Capricorn, Virgo. I guess it could be Taurus, but I'm not feeling Taurus. Definitely feeling Capricorn, Virgo, or Gemini. Okay? So let me get you guys an affirmation. Happy birthday. Don't be somber. Y'all know it couldn't be easy for your birthday, but I love y'all, and you know that. It ain't easy being a Scorpio. We know. Ah! All right, 3 cards fell out, and that's too many. 2 is one thing, but 3 is too many. Come on, Spirit. Give Scorpio one affirmation for their birthday. Life is never stuck, stagnant, or stale, for each moment is ever new and fresh. I do something new or at least different every day. So remember to take any and all opportunities life hands to you, not because everything is for you, but because we never have to settle for what is already available, okay? Scorpio, I love you all so much. It has been my pleasure to do this reading for you. I hope you found resonance in my messages, and I'll be back with you soon. Peace.